Sorry about the blasting lighting, but is Michael Jordan's Air the greatest Michael Jordan movie of all time, or will Space Jam always be the greatest movie of all time? What is up, my dudes? I watched Air yesterday. That was a voice crack, and I can't wait to talk about it before it's too late. But before we get into it, today's question of the day is, what is the best of Ben Affleck's filmography? The best responses will be featured in my Rocky Balboa review. But has Ben Affleck made a movie that is good? From award-winning director Ben Affleck, Air reveals the unbelievable game-changing partnership between a then-rookie Michael B. Jordan and Nike's fledgling basketball division, which revolutionized the world of sports and contemporary culture with the Air Jordan brand. This moving story follows the career-defining gamble of an unconventional team with everything on the line, the uncompromising vision of a mother who knows the worth of her son's immense talent, and the basketball phenom who would become the greatest of all time. I agree, but that's arguable, so argue in the comments. Air is rated R for language throughout, and apparently, I remember this, but there's a scene that's where there's a conversation on the phone, and a guy threatens to do something that is kind of inappropriate, honestly, so, yeah. Now, obviously, Air is just a bunch of people talking shoes. It's a boring dad movie. How fun could it be? Well, it's not that. It's every single conversation is so engaging. But before we get into that, I want to talk about the cast. Hey, everyone in this movie is fantastic. Matt Damon, Ben Affleck. Hey, those are the guys from Good Will Hunting. Chris Tucker, Jason Bateman, Viola Davis. Viola Davis is incredible, as well as Matt Damon, as well as Chris Tucker, as well as Jason Bateman, as well as every single person in the cast. They steal the show, but the standouts are Viola Davis and Matt Damon. But I just can't say that because there's so many other members of the cast that are just so incredible, and they're just, honestly, all of them fantastic in the movie. I want to talk about the visual aesthetic for a second. It takes place in 1984, right? But it looks like 1984. It feels like it. And the way that they do that, it pulls you into the movie more. And that also ties to a great retro soundtrack that they have. Like, the soundtrack is awesome. It is incredible. I want to own the soundtrack because it's so awesome. And, they play songs from the 80s, 1984, that time period, and that was just awesome. One of my favorite things that this movie had to offer, and it adds more of a vibe to this movie, and the whole thing's a goddamn vibe, but it adds more of a vibe, and it feels more cool, which is really cool to see in the movie, as well as just the entire thing. It's so cool, and that's one of the reasons why it's so entertaining, and we're going to get into that later, but it just feels cool. It feels awesome. It feels like a true story because it is a true story. And even if it wasn't a true story, this movie would still be fantastic. Oops, spoil myself. But it'll still be fantastic because it's so entertaining. And the fact that I saw some people who watched this movie who didn't know that it was a true story. In fact, there were people that watched this movie who aren't the biggest Michael Jordan fans, and they ended up loving the movie. That's awesome. And the dialogue. The dialogue is what carries this movie. And if it's bad, the movie would be bad because the entire movie is like 12 Angry Men. It's just conversations. But man, the dialogue, it's fantastic. It pulls you into this movie so much. It's so entertaining. And also some of the dialogue is so emotional, so impactful too. And especially these one-to-one conversations between people, especially in the last 20 minutes. Man, it'll get you emotional, and that was one of my favorite parts of the entire movie, the dialogue. Oh my goodness, it is just so riveting too, and it's incredible. Air also has the perfect pacing to keep you invested in the movie. If there's a lot of dialogue in the movie, and if the story is good, but the pacing isn't, the pacing just isn't as good, then, it's just not going to be good at all because it's not going to be able to pull you and not going to be able to be effective or have any motive on you at all because you're just going to zone out because, sometimes it just doesn't work. But like in these types of movies, but here it keeps you invested throughout the entire film. It's the perfect pacing, and you're never bored, you're never tired, and that's one of the things that surprised me about this movie, because it's conversations, just normal conversations, and I was never bored. It was just so fantastic, in my opinion. Now, time to get into my criticism. I have one criticism with the movie, and that is there's multiple endings. There is one ending, and I was like, okay, cool, end the movie here. That would just be fantastic. And then there was another ending, like, okay, yeah, so you could have, this is necessary. This isn't necessary. You don't need to do this. And, I just wanted it to sometimes move a bit more quickly. You got, text on screen that didn't bother me, but it wasn't needed, if you get what I mean. Because, I would say Ben Affleck could have moved away from those things, but I guess it did add more to the movie. It was fun, but again, it just wasn't needed to move the story forward or just keep you on edge at the end. So before I give you guys my score, if you could find it in your soul to drop a like and subscribe on this video, it would help my soul and maybe even your soul, and it would also make me happy. Or it would make me sad if you want to do that too. Air is riveting, emotional, and truly one of the most entertaining movies of the sports genre. This is a fascinating story and an Air is riveting, emotional, and truly one of the most entertaining movies of the sports genre. This is a fascinating true story and an expertly crafted outing from Ben Affleck. He is great in the movie, and although Matt Damon is the standout, the entire cast crushes it. The dialogue is snappy, funny, and entertaining, and the entire movie is incredibly stylistic, fun, but also stressful. The cinematography is slick, the retro soundtrack is great, and the final 20 minutes are guaranteed to get you emotional, and my score is a 92%. Some may say it's too high, but thinking about the impact and the resonate that this film had, I can't stop thinking about it. It's easily one of the best movies of the year, and I've only seen 5, but John Wick Chapter 4, Air, and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 are the 3 MVPs. And I won't spoil anything from my end of the year list, but this is probably number 2 on my 2023 list, and I absolutely loved it. So leave your comments down on my community post, not down below, because my comments are turned off. I hate YouTube. No, I also love YouTube, but I hate it so much. But the best movie with Ben Affleck involved in it. Make sure you comment your opinion on that. And, my dad will absolutely love this movie. I'll see you with my Rocky Balboa review. Bye-bye.